Hi, recently started my career as an editor. I am interested in developing skills to specialize in trailers and ads. Is finding a niche the best way to go, or should I be more versatile? Look, very, very good question. It really depends what you want to do, right? If you now say, for in this case, you're like, I want to work in trailers, I want to work in ads. Great, follow that path. That's why I tell people like say that want to work in scripted. I say, hey, you know what? Is this something what you want to do? Then you got to pick a path eventually. I think it's good to in the beginning, as you start your career, to try things out and see what you like. You got to also be careful because if you are, for example, and this depends where you are, what market you're working in, right? Because if you are just kind of out there getting all types of jobs, for example, right? And you're just like, for example, you're working commercials, and the next day you're working on a documentary, then the next day you're working on a talk show. I mean, whatever. Someone's gonna look at your resume and be like, "Well, what do you specialize in? What do you do?" And that certainly happens in like the bigger markets like LA or New York. Like people in those markets, for especially like working on bigger projects, producers are looking for someone that like specializes in like whether it be a cooking show, promos, commercials. For the most part, they're gonna look there first. Versus say like maybe in a smaller market, like look, I grew up in San Diego, right? And San Diego is different. Like I think in San Diego, working in like all these different types of projects probably helps you, but maybe not so much like in LA and like the bigger budget projects. So it's about really determining, well, like say what you want to work in, where you live, what the market is like there. Me personally, I knew that I wanted to work in film and scripted TV. That was my like what I want to do, my dream. And so I set out to do that eventually, right? Before I worked in scripted, I worked in everything else, honestly, like everything, documentaries, sports, news. In the beginning, I was like, working on all types of different projects, and it really affected me. That's happened to me where people just like are wondering like, well, what do you do? So I had to correct that. So kind of had to start from scratch and then build like, say, my narrative credits. So and that's why I think it's important at some point to really start paying attention to like navigating your career. One of the things that makes a good editor is though being able, look, we're storytellers, right? So in the end, it's like we're telling a story, whether it lasts 15 seconds, 30 seconds, 30 minutes, or an hour, 2 hours, we're telling a story. So really focus, if anything, maybe on improving your storytelling skills. And then, you can then adapt that to, different types of, material. It's really determining, again, what is it that, you want to do? What does your future look like? What does your career look like? And by answering these questions, you have a better idea of kind of what path to follow.